There are many ways in R to repeat things or to do so-called iteration, right? Doing the same type of operations on multiple objects, maybe either columns or rows. In the previous video, I showed you how to do it using the across shortcut, the across function where you tell R, do this for every column in a data frame, for example, right? I also explained in the last video that we already know one way to do iteration by kind of another shortcut, which is called vectorization. Rather than doing something for separate columns, you just put the columns underneath each other, restructuring or reshaping the data set using the pivot longer function, for example, and then doing the one command just on the whole column that now reflects separate groups. Today I'm going to show you just another function actually, which helps you to iterate things, whatever it may be. And this is the apply function. The apply function is very powerful in R. In the previous week we calculated a mean for separate columns all in one command, right? We're going to do something similar here. We're going to use the apply function to also take the mean. And the apply function works as such, right? You always have in the apply command data frame, right? You got to tell R what to kind of iterate over. Then you have specified a 1 if it's a column that you want to iterate over, or a 2 if you want to iterate over rows. Okay, and if you want to do the same operation for each row in the data frame. Then you're going to tell, let's stick with 1 right now. Then you're going to tell R what you actually want to do, what function you want to apply, what function you want to iterate over objects, right? In our case, let's take the mean, and then lastly we add additional options here we need, which is the remove equals true. So we're going to exclude any missing values here. Okay, so this is generally how the apply function works, and I'll show you how to do it for a column, which is the number 1 specification. Again, we take our grades data frame, which only includes the information on grades for years 2010 to 2020 for the whole data set for all 1,000 students, right? So we do that, and then we use the summarize command, again, which summarizes and aggregates data, right? And we're going to define a new variable which is called AV_GPA. And then we're going to use the apply function. Tell R that we want to apply across the matrix of grades 1, across the columns of this data frame. We want to take the mean and exclude missing values. So if we run that, it's going to look like this. So now we took the mean across all columns, right? So what it actually did is apply the mean function across all columns and took the mean per column. So for the first student in the data set, the mean across all years, the mean of their grade is 2.6. For the second student, the average grade for all years from 2010 to 2020 is 2.5, right? So you see how that works now. You can do the same thing for the rows, the row-wise operation, right? If you do that, just overwrite the same data frame, right? If you go here, you see all of a sudden you have only 11 rows. Why is that? You now have one cell, one row per year. So rather than doing something across the columns, it now did it across the rows. And the apply function will always give you a vector, which is basically in the long format, right? So this means the first row here represents the first mean for that first column, which is 2010. 2 is 2011, 2012. So basically the rows are now the years, and this is the mean. So basically in 2010, the average grade among all students was 1.9. Okay, so this is generally how the apply function works. You can do things across rows or across columns, and you can apply functions that way. The mean is a simple example, but you can really customize this and tailor this to your own needs and use the logic of iteration using the apply function in many more cases.